Speaking of Canelo, it looks very possible he'll fight Crawford in May. What would you think of that matchup, Canelo and Crawford?
Talking about Canelo, it doesn't get any bigger than that. We talking Mexico, we talking Tijuana, we talking Nacho Libre, and Canelo and Crawford is the biggest event in boxing. So I'm gonna give you my take on it.
You know what, I think my initial reaction would be to say that I think that Crawford would be the superior boxer, as great as Canelo is, as seasoned as he is, with 65 fights, if I recall, on his record.
All right, so Stephen A must have learned a thing or two from when he used to be on First Take with Max Kellerman, because we all know Stephen A is a boxing casual. But even he knows that Crawford is a better overall boxer than Canelo. Now, him bringing up the 60-something fights just shows how much of a casual he is. We all know that Canelo was in Tijuana, Mexico, fighting whoever showed up at the bar that night. But let's listen to Stephen A continue talking.
Seasoned as he is, with 65 fights, if I recall, on his record, he's phenomenal. But Crawford is something special. I think that he's a better pure boxer. I think boxing-wise, he's going to give Canelo fits.
A lot of boxing takes by journalists are usually very simplistic. My man Stephen A said, Crawford is a better pure boxer. And I think boxing-wise, when you talk about boxing, Crawford is going to be able to outbox Canelo. Because in boxing, but he doesn't specify, well, Crawford has a better jab, Crawford has longer arms. You know what I mean? Crawford is a better counterpuncher. Crawford could set things up off of the back foot. Stephen A doesn't go into any detail. And that's one of the reasons why I don't like these media journalists talking about boxing. A lot of them don't watch the sport enough or have never really done anything involved with the sport to be able to truly understand it.
My concern is that he won't hurt Canelo.
This is a misconception of a lot of Canelo fans. They think that Bud Crawford can't hurt Canelo, can't knock him out. Always remember that before Errol Spence fought Bud Crawford, Errol Spence had never been on a canvas in his life. He had never gotten stopped. When I say in his life, I mean in live action. Of course, we don't know what happens in sparring, but Errol had never gotten knocked down or stopped in his entire professional career, and Crawford came and changed all of that. Errol Spence has a great chin, great punch resistance. It still did not matter. So don't think that Crawford can't do the same thing to Canelo, who is a legend. Just like Errol Spence, before the Crawford fight, people were looking at him as a legend or a legend to be.
And if he doesn't hurt Canelo and can't hurt Canelo, then Canelo keeps coming.
No diddy, Stephen A. But seriously, just because Canelo is stalking a guy around the ring doesn't mean he's going to win the fight. Canelo tried to stalk Floyd. Only thing he did was run into right hands. He tried to stalk Laura. He ran into left hands. Bud is a switch hitter, so Canelo's going to run into both hands. But you don't win the fight just because you're aggressive. Canelo has been aggressive in all of his recent fights, and he hasn't stopped anybody in years, hasn't gotten a knockout in years.
Similar to how he stalked Charlo, how he stalked, once he had Plant hurt, he chased after him.
Canelo stalked Charlo and still couldn't knock him out, even though Charlo was jumping up 2 weight divisions. Canelo was able to stop Caleb Plant, a man who was a fan of his, asking for his autograph in the middle of the fight. So that win isn't even really that impressive, because you're in there with a man who mentally is already defeated. Bud Crawford is levels above Jermell Charlo and Caleb Plant. So Canelo's going to have to come with a whole new bag of tricks, something that we haven't really seen him do his entire career. And I don't think he's going to be able to do that.
Canelo is a very powerful individual who can get exposed by a boxer, because every shot he throws, he's trying to make it a power shot.
Now, earlier, Stephen A said that Crawford couldn't hurt Canelo. But now he's saying, Canelo can get exposed by a boxer because Canelo is loading up every shot, which is true. He can get exposed by a boxer. But this shows that Stephen A has never really been in the ring. If a man is continuously loading up power punches and you time him and counter him at the moment that he puts all of his energy, all of his force into that shot, it's basic physics. You could potentially knock that man out just because he's putting so much momentum in one way, and then you crash into his momentum with your own momentum at the right time. So Stephen A, he doesn't really understand what could happen to Canelo if Canelo fights a great counterpuncher like Bud Crawford. Canelo could seriously get hurt, probably get stopped.
But to me, can Crawford hurt him?
Yes, Stephen A. The simple answer is yes. Crawford can hurt Canelo just as much as your barber is hurting you. So that's a whole lot. Crawford could seriously hurt Canelo. Crawford has great timing, natural athleticism, longer arms than Canelo. He's faster than Canelo. Crawford hurt Errol Spence, a man with a great chin.
I would pick Crawford to win if he can box and stay away. I don't believe he can hurt Canelo.
I don't believe you know what you're talking about, Stephen A. Those smaller fighters are faster. They can hit you with a shot that you don't see. If they time it right and they place it right, they can hurt you. Canelo is just a man, a mortal. And he's a PED user. So it's not even like he damn Bo Jackson or somebody. He is a regular athlete with a little bit of enhancements.
And if Canelo catches him, it could be trouble.
Canelo has been catching a lot of people. He caught Triple G. He caught John Ryder. He caught Charlo. He caught Jaime Munguia. He caught Edgar Berlanga. They all felt that trouble, and they all made it to the end of the fight. So how much trouble is it really going to be for Terrence Crawford? Like, let's be real here. Jaime Munguia just got knocked out by some Frenchman who had 5 knockouts. Canelo was unable to do that. And then everybody's going to say, well, he let Jaime stick around because they're Mexican brothers. Well, none of the other people that I named are Mexican, so how come they get stuck around? Because Canelo no longer has that same power, the same timing, and the same speed on his punches because he's aging like spoiled milk.
But I would still say it would be a very interesting fight. I just believe that Crawford hasn't been in the ring with anybody this powerful.
Now here's some food for thought. Terrence Crawford, the biggest hit of his career, the only time when he was really about to get knocked out, he was fighting a lightweight, undefeated, 135-pound Yuriorkis Gamboa. Why is that? Because size isn't everything. This isn't like sleeping with a woman. No, but seriously, if somebody hits you with a shot that you don't see, force equals mass times acceleration. Those smaller guys don't have the same mass, but sometimes they have 2 or 3 times the acceleration. So they have the same amount of force, if not more, if they catch you in the right spot at the right time. Crawford's biggest punch ever landed on him was by a lightweight. So Canelo being big doesn't mean as much as Stephen A is trying to make it out to mean. And also, Canelo is an overrated power puncher, bruh. People act like he is knocking everybody out. His box record is not full of knockouts. He's not a knockout artist. He's not Tank Davis. Canelo has good power, just like Floyd Mayweather. But he doesn't have crazy out of this world power. He's not Arthur Berthabia. None of that. So I don't know why people got this thought about Canelo like he's some power, some big shot knockout artist, when he's not.
And I'm wondering whether he could stay away.
I'm wondering when you gonna cut the rest of that shit off your head. But Crawford, for real, he's not gonna try to stay away. None of his last fights, Errol, Madrimov, Crawford is standing there, putting his guard up and taking a lot of those shots to the head, bro. So he's not gonna run like Jermell Charlo did. He's not gonna be trying to stay away. He's gonna move around a little bit, but Crawford is content to trade. He reminds me of Ezra Charles when Ezra Charles back in the day was jumping up in heavyweight and fighting men that he had no business fighting. He was in there still trying to hurt those men. He took a lot of damage, and he gave a lot of damage as well.
Again, Crawford is the superior boxer. But if he can't hurt Canelo, he can't keep him off of him. And that's where the problem lies.
And if he can't hurt Canelo, he can't keep him off of him. Pause. But Canelo, he gets tired. Canelo isn't Aaron Pryor. He isn't Rocky Marciano. You know, he's not one of these Mexican William Zepeda. He's not one of these volume punchers. He gets tired. He needs to take breaks. So after Bud takes a couple of big shots or makes Canelo miss a lot of big shots, Canelo's going to pull back. He's not just going to stalk Crawford for 12 rounds, especially when you consider the fact that Crawford is going to be punching him back as well, making Canelo even more tired.
What do you think a win like that would do for Crawford? Would that put him
I
up
think it was
Robinson, Mayweather?
If Bud Crawford beats Canelo, he's definitely going to be in the conversation for one of the best of all time. But if he were to stop Canelo or knock him out, remember, Floyd couldn't do that. Floyd had to outbox Canelo as well. Canelo outweighed Floyd by like 20 pounds on fight night. Floyd had to outbox him. If Bud were to stop a man larger than him or knock that man out, there's going to be people saying that Bud Crawford is better than Floyd and Ray Robinson. But if you look at their resume, Floyd's resume, even if Bud knocks out Canelo, Floyd's resume is impeccable. Bud Crawford doesn't have those names on his resume in mass and large like how Floyd has those names on his resume. So really, Bud doesn't have enough time to catch Floyd.
About it. He and I spoke about it in Vegas when the UFC event was at the Sphere. It's a fight he wants desperately, he wants badly. He says it's a legacy fight. He thinks about Tommy Hitman Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard and others moving up in weight.
And not only does he want to do the same, but he's already done the same. Bud started his career at 135. The man went undisputed at 140, went undisputed at 147, and knocked everybody out at 147. Jumped up to 154, fought the champion, no tune-up. You know what I mean? After like a year and a half off, beat the champion. So Bud Crawford has shown the ability to jump up in weight as a natural athlete, not a PED user like Canelo or Roy Jones, a natural athlete and get the job done. That's also why his performance against Magomedov wasn't as dominant, because he isn't on any of that extra stuff. He isn't on any of those PEDs. But another reason why it wasn't as dominant is because Magomedov didn't really come to that fight to win. He was hesitant. He only wanted to throw single pot shot right hands. If you watch any other Magomedov fight, he lets his hands go and he's really, really wild in the ring. Very irresponsible in the ring. And he takes a lot more risk and chances like how real champions would do. But against Bud, he was gun-shy.
Which is why we haven't really seen him in the ring against anybody else, because he doesn't want anybody else. He wants the major fight. On one hand, he don't like it.
Now Stephen A is about to try to make it look like Bud is ducking because he's earned the right to duck or some shit like that. But then he names people that Bud Crawford would knock out, like Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz was struggling with Sergey Boychuk. Bud Crawford would counter Virgil Ortiz so hard and knock him out. Boots Ennis, if you watch Boots' last fight against Chukadon, Boots has so many defensive holes and Boots leaves himself open to be hit. You know what I mean? Boots Ennis likes to trade blow for blow, but Bud hits harder than him. Bud has more experience, he's a veteran, better timing, all of that. Bud would knock Boots out. So there's really no point in him fighting those names, knocking them out, not making any money, not really adding to his legacy.
On one hand, you don't like it because Charlo is there.
And after Charlo ran from Canelo, who the hell wants to see Charlo and Bud? Charlo hurt his stock when he got in there and ran from Canelo Alvarez. Just like the big Charlo hurt his stock when he let Caleb Plant slap him and he ain't do shit.
And others for him to fight. On the other hand, you have to look at him and say, wait a minute, he is 35, 36 years old. He's been around the game a long time. He was denied his shine a long time because people didn't want to get in the ring with him.
No, Crawford was denied his shine because he signed with Bob Arum. Bob didn't want to market him. Bob didn't want to feed Pacquiao to him. Then he re-signed with Bob Arum, knowing all the biggest names in welterweight were in the PBC. Then he leaves Bob Arum and complains about how Bob Arum stole money from him. But that's why Bud Crawford didn't get his shine. Not because nobody was scared to fight him. The only one that was scared to fight him was Keith Thurman.
He has every right to want to avoid getting in the ring with risky fighters like Boots Ennis or Charlo or Ortiz or anybody else.
These are all fighters that Terence Crawford would knock out. Charlo, Ortiz, Boots Ennis. And he wouldn't even make that much money knocking them out. It wouldn't add to his legacy. Charlo's name was sullied when he ran from Canelo. Boots has no name in the game and Virgil has no name in the game.
He wants Canelo. I can respect that because he paid his dues to put himself in this position where he gets to prevent people now,
I can respect that because he put himself in position to duck. That's basically what Stephen A is saying. But that was Stephen A's take. I agree with Stephen A on some points. I think Bud will outbox Canelo, but I think Bud is also going to hurt Canelo. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man.